During the day, I don't think as much, but during the night, the evening, but this is how I try to be strong.
לא, לא, אל תדאגי, הם רק רצו לדעת.
Now it was bad, very bad. It's what is there to say. The Germans, what they did in Auschwitz, the Hamas also did. Even worse, they took consideration of nothing. They destroyed people inside their homes, inside the safe room. A whole family, 6 people, not once, the whole kibbutz.
משפחה שלמה, 6 אנשים. לא לאחד, כל הקיבוץ. פה אני ואחותי שהיינו במלחמה. סבלתי בסיפור. רוצה שאני אספר מה סבלתי? בסוף הם שמעו שהגרמנים באים, ברחו מהר.
At the end of the war, they heard that the Germans were coming and quickly fled, and we fled to a shelter. What kind of shelter? In the earth. In the earth without water. This is important to say. Without water, without a wet floor, cold. Not just us, a few other families. And anyone who came out of the shelter was killed. One neighbor left and was killed, but we stayed there, and when the war was over, we came out and no longer had a house. The Germans destroyed our homes. I had no home.
הרגו. אבל אנחנו המשכנו שמה, אבל כשנגמר המלחמה, יצאנו בחוץ, לא היה לנו בית כבר. הגרמנים הרסו את הבתים, אז לא היה לי כבר בית.
איפה זה מרחב מוגן פה של לידה?
מה?
איפה מרחב מוגן פה של לידה?
בעיקרון הכל עד אתמול רואים ממש.
רואים את הנגיעה, או לא?
The replica of the bunker in Ghetto Warsaw from 1948. Pitch here, okay?
If you could just stand here so we can continue.
We have to remember that these missiles are targeting civilians. They're targeting anything that moves. They're not targeting something specific. But I think it's very symbolic.
She lives in Ashkelon.
She lives in Ashkelon. She doesn't have, by the way, a...
אני מנסה להיות חזקה, מנסה לשכוח.
I try to be strong, try to forget sometimes. Not to forget because my heart is aching for the soldiers, for those kidnapped, the little children, not even a year old, and they are already there. Horrible. I suffer because of it. Since the 7th month, since October the 7th, I have been sick because of it.
מחודש שביעי, מתאריך שביעי אני חולה בגלל זה.
אתה רוצה לקבוע פגישה? אני היום במשרד. מתי אתה יכול לבוא? To hear people that have been down to the south and seen what happened there, to say that it's worse than the Nazis, I think that's the worst trigger for a Holocaust survivor. יופי. Unfortunately, for some of them, this has been a trigger. Definitely a trigger for PTSD, but not only. The stress of the war, the alarms. Some of them don't even want to go into a bomb shelter. They're so depressed, they don't care if they live or die. התקשרתי אליו לעשות רשימת מצרכים ומה הוא צריך, ואז פתאום הוא... Also in touch with a Holocaust survivor that lives in an old folks home. So she is alive, thank God, but 8 members of her family are missing. Unfortunately, the first funeral was on Thursday, and she's waiting to hear if the rest of her family is kidnapped or if she has more funerals coming. It's going to affect everybody in Israel. Everybody will eventually know somebody. It's only a matter of time.
לא לבכות.
85 years old hostage coming back from.
My grandmother, she's the strongest person I know. And seeing her like that, I see how fragile and in which situation she is. I feel that she's changed, yeah, absolutely. It was difficult for me to see her. I saw her, I saw how skinny she is. I saw that she didn't get the nutrition that she's supposed to get. And I was happy to see that she is walking and that she can walk and that she can speak. That was encouraging. With that, I was really afraid of her mental situation. She was with a lot of adrenaline up. I'm sure she had it, I think, until today around 4 p.m. Since then, her health situation went down a bit with some issues. I think that they saw her situation, and I think that her situation there was probably not as we see here in the first days, as the adrenaline is very, very high. But when I met her, my heart was, I got a sting in my heart because I knew she's not in a good condition. And I'm very happy that they released her for that she could survive, because otherwise I'm not sure she would survive there after the trauma she caused. And as well, for the moment, she doesn't know what's going on with her husband, which is her husband in the last more than 60 years. And I'm sure it's a very, very difficult thing. She saw him the last time injured, wounded. He got shot in the hand in the secure room, and he was wounded laying by the fence. And I'm sure I'm very afraid for him. I'm really terrified of his situation, and you know, if they release her, why they didn't release him?
You know, I don't know at what point what went wrong.
Those news yesterday were full of everything, of happiness, excitement, of fear, of anger, of so many things together. And eventually I'm very happy to see that my grandmother is back and not held and not captured, and she's not a hostage anymore. I'm really afraid that releasing these two hostages is just buying time for this release, and we should have and get a major release of hostages.
Tabii İsrail bu insanlar güneye gidiyor, ancak sivil konvoyları da vuruyorlar. Yani insanların o noktaya inmesine de izin vermiyorlar. Buraya da ateş altına alıyorlar. Hani görüyorsunuz için. Başta Türkiye olmak üzere. Türkiye aslında ilk yardımda bulunan ülke de desek yanlış olmaz. Gazze orası. Meytan noktası Gazze'nin Roman açık nokta. Bunlar yetmeyecek tabii ki. Okyanusta bir damla bile değil. 370 kilometre karelik